Hey everyone, welcome back to Life is Love School. A question I get asked a lot is how to be more confident, how to act more secure. The secret is lessen what you do and more about stop doing some of the things that you've been doing that drags your confidence down. If this topic interests you, stay tuned and also make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. The first way that people lose self-confidence is they constantly compare themselves to other people. Social comparison is natural. This is what people do. We are social creatures after all, and it's a well-studied phenomenon. However, just because everybody does it does not mean that it's always helpful. When it comes to social comparison, there's two types. One is you compare up, the other one is you compare down. So comparing up is, for example, if I want to be a basketball player and I compare myself to the star basketball player in my school and I feel that I am no good. So that takes my self-confidence down a notch. Comparing down is I compare to somebody who's never touched a basketball and I feel somewhat better about myself. But either way, it makes my happiness relative to other people and how other people are performing. And this is actually forgetting that everybody is running their own race. Maybe I'm not the most talented at basketball, but it by no means means that I shouldn't try or that I can't enjoy it. So if I hinge whether I do something on how I compare to other people, then that comparison never ends because there's always somebody better than you at a particular skill, and there's always somebody who is less good than you on a certain skill or on any vector in life. And that's why you commonly see people get less happy when they spend more time on social media. They're comparing how they look to other people. They're comparing their vacation against other people and constantly feeling that they come up short. But these comparisons are unfair. So I've heard a lot of people that they said, well, I would love to be really wealthy. I want to be as wealthy as XYZ. But they're comparing just one vector of that person. They're not looking at that person's entire life. The more fair question would be, would you like to assume that person's identity? Meaning that maybe they're broken marriages, not so great health, maybe they're broken personal relationships, etc., etc. You really cannot, in all fairness, just say, I want how this person looks, I want how that person dances, I want this person's job, etc., and mix together a superhuman, because that simply does not exist. Habit number 2 that kills your self-confidence is not following through. A lot of people think that in order to be more self-confident, we gotta do positive self-talk. That's all important. But if all you do is positive self-talk saying that, I am amazing, I can do it, etc., but you don't actually follow through, you will not have any credibility with yourself. Just think about how other people earn your credibility or how you earn other people's confidence and credibility in you. The same logic applies to earning that trust, that confidence, that credibility with yourself. So if you set a goal saying that I will go for a walk today, make sure you try your best to carry it through. So on this point, it is beneficial if you're just starting to build a good habit to set small goals that is winnable so that you constantly build your confidence instead of set a huge goal saying that I am going to run for 2 hours when you've never done an exercise before and that you set yourself up for failure instead. So start small, make sure you carry it through before you increase the goal. Number 3 self-confidence killer is constantly seeking reassurance. Why does seeking reassurance kill your self-confidence? Well, if you're feeling insecure, nobody likes it. Nobody likes feeling that feeling of not knowing where I stand. If I ask somebody out, are they going to go out with me or are they going to reject me? Nobody likes that feeling. Everybody wants to know that they're valued, they're loved, etc. But if you can't manage your own emotions, you can't self-regulate, and you're constantly asking other people for reassurance, what that trains you is that this feeling of uneasiness is dangerous. So every time you feel uneasy, you ask for reassurance, you get that reassurance from somebody, and you feel better. So this reinforcing circle or cycle is that every time you don't feel good, you're going to ask for reassurance. But of course, that reassurance is not going to last very long because it comes from the outside, it's not from the inside. Not that the self-confidence is self-earned. So you're constantly trying to get it out of somebody again. And you know it's not reliable because people get tired of you constantly asking. People may not give you the answer that you want to hear. And also, you're training yourself that this uneasy feeling of being uncertain, of being in a murky area in the gray zone is dangerous and that you must seek relief right away. So you become a little bit like a drug addict that needs that hit right away. So instead, train yourself to do positive self-talk so that you could regulate your own emotions, you could soothe yourself and not seek that external validation. You give yourself that validation. Number 4 self-confidence killer is passive-aggressive communication. So passive-aggressive communication is interesting because you want something, but you don't come right out and say it. You're hoping that other people can mind read and just guess it right. But if they don't guess it right, you are angry at them. But in fact, you resent them, but at the same time, the person you resent most is yourself, because you resent yourself for not sticking up for yourself, for not having the courage, for asking for what you want and what you need. And it's also unfair to punish other people for not guessing correctly. We as adults have a duty to communicate what we want clearly, succinctly, directly, and not force people to ask. The only human that have a right to make people guess is the ones that can't speak, such as infants. So if you can speak, make sure that you speak up for yourself. Because when you speak up for yourself, you're also validating to yourself that your needs and your feelings matter. The number 4 way that makes you seem insecure is you always say yes. So you say yes to things you don't want to do. You say yes to things you shouldn't be doing because you're afraid of maybe hurting others' feelings, maybe making other people dislike you. You're basically a people pleaser. And the result of this is that people take advantage of you. They don't respect you because in a way, you don't respect yourself. If you believe that your needs and your wants matter, then you would not say yes all the time. Because when you say yes all the time, you are saying yes to what other people want at the expense of what you want. And that is not fair. You owe a duty to yourself to stand up for what you need and what you want. Your time, your energy, your space, your resources, these are all things that belong to you. So I'll just give you a simple example. So some people choose to cut off their parents because their parents are abusive. And some people find it very difficult to do that, despite the fact that their parents are still abusing them, even though they're adults. Why? Because they're so afraid of what the neighbors will think, what other family members will think, etc. So they put the viewpoints of all these other people ahead of what actually will generate happiness for them, what will actually help them have a good mental space. So make sure you don't do that. Because if you constantly say yes to what everybody else wants instead of what you want, you will end up living somebody else's life, and I can guarantee you, you will one day regret it. And point number 6 is you live by your feelings instead of your values. If you want to have high self-confidence, at the bottom of it is you must respect yourself, right? You have to trust yourself by doing what you say you will do, but you also must respect yourself. If you respect yourself, regardless of what happens, whether you have that job, you lose that job, you have money, you don't have money, you're married, you're divorced, you're single, whatever, you know that you're a good person. And it takes courage to do the right thing when the right thing is also the hard thing. But if you want to live with high self-confidence and you want to be secure in who you are, you have to live according to your values. The benefit of also living to your values is that you're willing to delay gratification, so you shoot for a higher goal later. Let's say you want to go to business school. In order to go to business school, in order to go to a good school, you have to get a high grade on your GMAT. You could go party on a weekend or you could be studying. Of course, everybody prefers to relax and party on a weekend, but you have a higher goal. So you suck it up and you study and you get to where you want to be. Every time you do that, every time you sacrifice the near term for the long term, you are validating that you yourself is somebody worth investing in. And you are putting in the effort to invest for your own future. What is more beautiful than that? Think about it. Most people will not hesitate to spend money on their kids, right? Any good enough parent would say, wow, if I could spend some money, get a better tutor, or spend some money, get into a school district that my kids can get a better education, I will do that. You don't hesitate to say yes for your children. But a lot of us wouldn't spend that money on ourselves, wouldn't invest in ourselves, wouldn't invest time in ourselves. We take our kids to learn how to swim. We don't do that for ourselves. I want you to flip the script. I want you to prioritize yourself and make sure that you love yourself enough to invest in yourself. So I hope you find this information helpful. As always, I would love for you to join Tribe. Just check out the link below, and I also have other information that I think you'll find useful. As always, to comment in the comment section, because I read every single one of them and I reply to them. I hope you have a wonderful week.